Hello and welcome to Carved in Stone, where I pick a topic and select my Mount Rushmore of that topic, so basically my top four, but I will mention more than four selections. Lists, of course, are subjective, and narrowing it down to four is narrowing it down quite a bit, so I'll explain why some may fall just short of the mountain. I'm your host, Shawn Chabam, and I have today what I think will be a fun and controversial episode as I give you my Mount Rushmore of fictional athletes. Don't get too excited if from the intro there are no bowlers on this list, so sorry if you thought that your favorite bowling movie was going to make the cut. I'm just going to tell you up front, it's not. It was just a graphic that I used. This podcast is not affiliated with, endorsed, or sponsored by any film studios, streaming platforms, or production companies mentioned. Images are sourced from Wikimedia Commons under appropriate licensing. I say that today's list, fictional athletes, will be controversial because every sports/movie fan has an opinion on this. And I rely on comedy quite a bit that's so over the top, it's unrealistic. I have told you in the past, though, I like cheesiness and campiness. You don't have to agree. This is just my list. These are the ones that landed for me. And yes, I sometimes like a good comedy, sue me. That said, while there are some laughs in these films, the first and last reveals aren't exactly considered comedies. First up is Philadelphia's own Rocky Balboa. The Rocky franchise is one of my favorite film franchises. In fact, it's my second favorite film franchise, second only to Back to the Future. Rocky Balboa can overcome damn near anything. He's working as a crappy henchman for a loan shark. I say crappy because he doesn't do his job to the best of his ability, since he has a conscience, which is not exactly a good thing for that career. He's boxing on the side, and from what Mickey says, he has potential, but he's chosen to go to a life of darkness instead. Mickey calls Rocky's career choice a waste of life after kicking Rocky out of his locker at the gym, putting Rocky's stuff on Skid Row, as Rocky calls it. Rocky's fortunes change when his name is literally picked out of a book by champion Apollo Creed. He needs an opponent for his upcoming heavyweight title defense, in which the original challenger was injured. Creed just likes Rocky's nickname, the Italian Stallion, which Rocky himself came up with one night eating dinner, as he mentions at a press conference. Rocky just wants to go the distance with Creed. Creed says that he's going to wipe the floor with Balboa in 3 rounds. Basically, he's going to string him along for 3 rounds. His manager actually doesn't want Apollo fighting Rocky because Rocky is a southpaw, which means he's left-handed, throws off your timing and all of that kind of stuff. But Creed hears the name. He says that it sounds like a damn monster movie, Creed versus the Italian Stallion, or Italian Stallion, as Apollo Creed says, and he ends up booking the fight. Well, Rocky shocks the world by going the distance with Creed, albeit losing by decision. He does win the title in the second film and then spends the next several movies doing the impossible, beating champions, overcoming personal tragedies, including the loss of Mickey. And somehow he ends up ending the Cold War, we're left to assume, when he knocks out Ivan Draco. He ends up becoming incredibly popular and one of the best boxers of all time, arguably the best of all time. The Rocky franchise ended with 6 films and also inspired a spin-off franchise, Creed, in which Rocky takes Apollo Creed's son under his wing. I will do a mountain of Rocky and Creed movies one day, so I don't want to dwell on these too much. In fact, that's all I'm going to dwell on them. We're done. We're going to go on to the next. And next up, he's been on a different mountain of mine before, Bobby Boucher, Adam Sandler's character in The Waterboy. The Waterboy turned linebacker is another great example of an underdog story. You have a guy who's been sheltered and mocked his whole life, whose biggest skill was handing out water to football players, suddenly transforming into a sack machine himself because of pure bottled up anger and energy. He turns the tiny South Central Louisiana State University Mud Dogs football team from a joke that hasn't won a game in years to Bourbon Bowl champions. And let's be honest, water sucks. It really, really sucks. That's one of those movie lines you'll never forget because Gatorade's better. Early Sandler, as I've said before, is great. Bobby Boucher was an unstoppable force. And how about a two-sport athlete, Forrest Gump? Forrest doesn't just run, although he does that for 3 straight years across America. He also becomes an All American football player at the University of Alabama, returning kicks like no one else can. You just have to point him to the end zone, and once he crosses the goal line, it's anyone's guess where he'll end up. And that's before he turns into a world class ping pong player, competing internationally. The man outran defensive lines, enemies, and even heartbreak. Jenny. He may not understand the complexity of sports, but nobody questions his heart or his results. When it first came out, and for a long time, I did not care for this movie. Um, as I got older, I started to appreciate it more. I realized how quotable it was. I just didn't like, I think, that it didn't have like a main plot. Like there was never one specific thing he was overcoming, but he does overcome a lot in his life. So I guess so the movie's just about his life. There's not I can't really say that there's a central plot point to it. But like I said, it's grown on me over the years. It's not one of my favorite movies. I would have to really look at all of Tom Hanks' movies to decide where I would rank it among his. But my opinion on it has changed over the years. It is a good film, and Forrest Gump gets up there as one of the best fictional athletes. The last spot. There are so many good options that are left off today, unfortunately. But the last spot goes to Daniel LaRusso from The Karate Kid. This one's personal for a lot of people. LaRusso is a skinny kid from Jersey, dropped into California, where he's instantly bullied by a karate gang. Instead of crumbling, he learns discipline and technique from Mr. Miyagi, eventually pulling off one of the most iconic moments in sports history, the crane kick. I'm probably not holding the fingers right. I haven't seen The Karate Kid in quite some time. Anyway, the movie, it's not just about winning a tournament, it's about standing up to bullies and proving heart beats muscle. This is another film that inspired multiple movies, including reimaginings. Paint the fence. Wax on, wax off. And the mountain selections are now off. But let's do a few honorable mentions before calling it a show. The first honorable mention, Dottie Hinson from A League of Their Own, the heart and soul of the Rockford Peaches, a strong leader in women's baseball who could hit, throw, and catch with the best of them. She is the star of the team and the league, despite only playing for one season. Next honorable mention, Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. Shake and bake, baby! Ricky lives by the motto, if you ain't first, you're last. Sure, he's a caricature, but he's also the perfect satire of NASCAR. Next honorable one, Benny the Jet Rodriguez from The Sandlot. Every kid on the block looked up to Benny. He's the one who pulled his friends into bigger adventures, and he's the reason the crew had their legendary summer. Though I guess you could argue that Squints did that with his false stories about the beast. Benny is the only member of the Sandlot to play in the big leagues. He ends up playing for the Dodgers, as we see at the end of the film, and Smalls ends up becoming the announcer. And let's finish up honorable mentions with an athlete who's been on the mountain, but he won't be today. Happy Gilmore. Happy brought hockey toughness to golf, smashing drives, fighting Bob Barker, and proving you can turn anger into athletic greatness, at least in a comedy. As I said, he's been up there before. Technically, the actor who played him is up there today, Adam Sandler. He played both Bobby Boucher and Happy Gilmore, but he's not up there for Happy Gilmore. That's it for today. To recap my Mount Rushmore of fictional athletes: Rocky Balboa, Bobby Boucher, Forrest Gump, and Daniel LaRusso. Thanks as always for watching. Let me know who your favorite fictional athletes are, if you like comedies or if you like the more serious ones. I know there are a lot of more serious based fictional athletes who I didn't name. I guess you could say Rocky is one of the more serious ones, as is Daniel LaRusso, but there are plenty of other ones who I didn't go with here because I'm more into the comedy side of things, but you might not be, so let me know. Please like and subscribe, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I will see you next time. Go Birds!